In the shimmering city of Thalnora, towering spires of crystal stretched into the sky, reflecting the twin suns' light across the valley below. The city was alive with activity, but in a way foreign to human senses. Every Valari moved with precision, purpose, and silent calculation. There was no laughter, no tears, no hesitation, only perfection. Lysera, a young Valari scientist with silver-toned skin that gleamed even in shadow, walked swiftly through the corridors of the High Council. Her heart raced, though she had long trained herself to hide it. Today was the day she would speak to Erix, her council-assigned bondmate, about a feeling no Valari dared express. Love. Valari did not love. Love was primitive. Attachment was weakness. But Lysera had felt it anyway. Erix stood before her in the council hall, regal and detached, his tall frame outlined by the golden light streaming through the high windows. His silver eyes were calm, almost cold. "Lysera," he said, voice even and controlled. "Your report on xenobiotic flora was adequate. But what is this? Emotion I sense from you?" Lysera's throat tightened. She had rehearsed this moment countless times. "I wish to bond with you not because of duty, but because I desire you," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. Erix's expression hardened. "Lysera, emotions are primitive. You disgrace yourself and your lineage by speaking such folly." The council, silent observers until now, murmured among themselves. One by one they nodded in agreement. Lysera felt a cold emptiness as her destiny crumbled in front of her. "You are stripped of your rank. Your name will be removed from all archives. Your existence in Thalnora is nullified," the council declared. Lysera's world shattered. She had trained her whole life to serve, to excel, to honor her people, and yet she was cast aside for feeling something pure and human. With no home, no honor, and no future, she fled. She boarded a small shuttle she had kept hidden for emergencies and launched herself toward the stars. She did not know where she was going, only that she could not stay in a world that rejected her heart. She traveled far beyond Valari-controlled space, through systems humans had begun to settle. She learned of New Athens, a human colony world on the frontier, and set her course. Humans were primitive, yes, but they were alive in ways Valari had forgotten. Perhaps there she could find solace. The journey was harsh. Lysera's shuttle was small and underpowered for interstellar travel. She navigated asteroid fields and dodged space debris, her mind haunted by memories of rejection. Days turned into weeks until the shuttle finally faltered near the orbit of New Athens. The crash was violent but survivable. Lysera stumbled out, armor scorched, silver hair matted, and body aching. She expected aggression from the humans, as her people always expected the worst from primitives. Instead, she found Captain Elias Ward, a human engineer, who approached her cautiously but without hostility. His uniform was faded, his hands calloused from years of ship repair, and his eyes curious rather than fearful. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently. "Can you walk?" Lysera did not understand. Why would a human offer help without command or reward? In Thalnora, help was a transaction and weakness was exploited. Yes, she replied, struggling to speak. "But you should leave me. I am dangerous to your kind." Elias shook his head. "You're hurt. That's enough reason to help. No one should suffer like this alone." He carried her to his small workshop near the orbiting colony station. There he tended her burns, cleaned wounds, and offered water. Lysera had never felt warmth like this. It was not the sterile efficiency of her own people. It was chaotic, messy, and human, and somehow comforting. Over the next days, Lysera observed humans more closely. They laughed loudly, argued passionately, and comforted each other in ways she had only read about in ancient archives. She realized something shocking. Despite their imperfections, humans were alive in a way the Valari had forgotten. They were strong in ways Valari were not. She began to assist Elias in small tasks, fixing engines, analyzing alien materials, understanding the quirks of human technology. She was brilliant, yes, but humans were adaptable, inventive, and unpredictable. She began to admire them. One evening, as the orange sun set over New Athens, Lysera stood at the edge of the workshop, watching the human settlement glow below. Elias joined her, carrying a tray of simple food. "You don't have to do this for me," Lysera said, unsure of how to express the feelings forming in her chest. Elias smiled, handing her a bowl of stew. "I do it because it matters. Because it's right. You're not just some alien in trouble, you're someone. Lysera felt a strange stirring in her chest. Humans could make one feel more than just survival or logic. They could make one feel hope. She realized how lonely she had been, and how desperately she had longed for connection. Not command, not status, not honor, but something human. And then, after a long silence, she said the words that would change both their lives forever. Elias Ward, will you bind with me, in your human custom? As your mate? Elias froze. The question was absurd, impossible even. A Valari and a human? The customs, the biology, the social norms, it was inconceivable. Yet in her silver eyes he saw something he had never encountered before. Vulnerability. Trust. Desire. And for the first time, he realized humans had power beyond technology, beyond war. They had heart. I don't know what to say, he admitted. You can say yes, Lysera whispered, or you can say no. But I must ask. I cannot return to my world, and I will not survive without connection. Elias looked at her, seeing the pain of rejection she carried, the courage of defiance, and the fragile hope in her gaze. Humans valued choice, heart, and compassion, qualities Valari could not comprehend. And in that moment he felt a bond forming, one that transcended species, culture, and history. He took her hand, small and warm against his rough human skin. We will see, he said softly. We'll figure this out together. Lysera's chest tightened. It was not a promise, not a guarantee, but it was the first human step toward something she had never known. Belonging. As night fell over New Athens, the stars twinkled with the possibility of adventure. Lysera, once rejected and cast aside, felt a spark of hope ignite within her. She had left her people, left the perfection of Thalnora, and embraced uncertainty. And in doing so, she had discovered something humans always seemed to possess: resilience, warmth, and the courage to face the unknown. Somewhere deep inside, she realized that she might not just survive. She might thrive, and in a human world full of imperfection, she could finally learn what it truly meant to be alive. The small human settlement of New Athens was bustling even at night. Ships clanked in the orbital docks, lights blinked on control panels, and distant laughter floated through the colony streets. Lysera, once a high-ranking Valari, now walked among humans in quiet observation. Every detail fascinated her: the improvisation of their machines, the warmth of their gestures, and the strength hidden beneath their apparent fragility. Elias Ward led her through the workshop, showing her schematics for an old cargo vessel. See this? He said, pointing to a worn blueprint. Humans didn't design this perfectly. They didn't have the best materials, but they fixed it, made it fly. That's what makes us strong. Lysera nodded slowly. She had spent her life surrounded by perfection, yet imperfection now felt alive. It was unpredictable, yes, but it had something Valari logic could not reproduce. Spirit. Days passed, and Lysera learned human ways. She laughed when Elias told jokes she barely understood. She helped him repair engines, discovering that her Valari knowledge could improve human machinery. In return, humans taught her simple joys: sharing food, telling stories, even playing strange games with boards and tokens. One evening, while they worked on the cargo ship's engine, Lysera's thoughts drifted. She had asked Elias to bond with her, to share life in a human way, but he had not said yes. She wondered if it was foolish, asking a human to join a Valari in a relationship so impossible. Lysera, Elias said suddenly, snapping her back to reality. You've been quiet. Thinking about? I am thinking of connection, she admitted. In my world, there is only duty. Here, humans have choice. But choice is difficult, yes? Elias smiled. It's harder than anything Valari can imagine. But it's real. It's why we survive. Why we care. Why we fight and fail and try again. Her silver eyes reflected the flickering lights. She realized that survival alone was not enough. One had to live with meaning, with heart. Humans carried that without even knowing it. Their time together strengthened the bond between them. Elias began to trust Lysera's advice on engineering problems. Lysera, in turn, trusted him for safety and guidance. She had once been alone, abandoned by the only world she had known. Now she was part of something unpredictable, vibrant, and real. But peace was fragile. One day, sensors picked up an unusual transmission, a Valari scout ship approaching New Athens. It was small, but the insignia was unmistakable. The High Council had not forgotten their outcast. Lysira's chest tightened. She had fled to humans for safety, but now her past was catching up. "They're coming," she whispered. "The Valari, they will demand my return, or worse." Elias placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We face them together. Whatever comes, we'll figure it out." When the scout ship docked, a delegation of Valari entered the colony. Their expressions were as cold and precise as Lysira remembered, and the humans instinctively recoiled. Lysira stepped forward, holding her head high despite her fear. "Lysira of Thalnora," the lead Valari announced, voice clear and commanding. "You are required to return to the High Council. Your disobedience cannot go uncorrected." Elias stepped protectively in front of her. "She's not going anywhere. She's safe here, and we won't let anyone take her by force." The Valari ignored him, their focus fixed entirely on Lysira. But something curious happened. She did not feel fear. She felt resolve. She was no longer a Valari who obeyed blindly. She had experienced human courage, choice, heart, and defiance, and it was her shield. "I will not return," Lysira said firmly. "I choose my own path. If the High Council wishes to challenge me, it must do so through reason, not force." The lead Valari's eyes narrowed. "You do not understand the consequences. Humans are fragile. Your actions could endanger them." "They are not fragile," Lysira replied. "They are stronger than you imagine, and I will not let you harm them." For the first time, the Valari hesitated. Lysira's human companions, inspired by her courage, began to form a protective line. They may not have had Valari power, but they had ingenuity, strategy, and unity, qualities Valari did not anticipate. The negotiation began. Lysira spoke not as a Valari outcast, but as a representative of humans and herself. She argued that her exile was her right, and that any attempt to take her by force would spark conflict the Valari were unprepared for. Elias watched, amazed. Lysira's silver eyes burned with intelligence, conviction, and, remarkably, heart. She was not just surviving among humans. She was defending them. Hours later, the Valari delegation left, realizing that her presence among humans could not be reversed without major conflict. Lysira exhaled, relief and pride mingling in her chest. She had stood against the greatest power she had ever known, and humans had stood with her. That night, as the twin moons rose over New Athens, Lysira and Elias sat on the deck of the cargo ship. The air was cool, carrying the scent of distant forests and ionized metal. Lysira reached for Elias's hand. "You stayed with me," she said softly. "Even when danger came, why?" Elias smiled, his hand warm against hers. "Because you matter. Because humans, we do what we can for those who matter to us, and you've shown us courage, wisdom, and heart. That's worth protecting." Lysira felt her chest tighten. She had fled rejection and humiliation, yet here she was, accepted and valued. She realized that this bond, human and alien, was something she had never experienced in Thalnora. She felt alive in a way she never thought possible. "You have taught me something humans call love," Lysira said quietly. "It is frightening, but I want to experience it fully, with you." Elias turned, his gaze steady. "Then we'll take it one step at a time. Learn together. Face challenges together. That's what humans do, and then now we do it together." For the first time, Lysira allowed herself to hope. Her past rejection no longer defined her. She had found strength in imperfection, courage in choice, and connection in someone who truly cared. The next days were filled with preparation. Lysira helped human engineers enhance the cargo vessel, using Valari knowledge to improve speed, efficiency, and resilience. Humans worked alongside her, learning from her insights, adapting to her suggestions, and respecting her as a peer rather than a tool. Elias, meanwhile, guided her through human rituals and ways of bonding. Lysira struggled to understand humor, trust, and informal gestures, but each day, she learned something new about humanity and about herself. One afternoon, a human child wandered into the workshop, curious about the alien woman who moved among them. Lysira knelt, letting the small child touch her hair and armor, smiling as the child laughed. The moment struck her deeply. Humans had joy, innocence, and spontaneity. Valari could never truly understand such things. That night, as she looked at the stars, Lysira realized that she had found something no Valari council could take away: belonging. Humans had shown her courage, friendship, and love in their own chaotic, flawed way, and through them, she discovered her own heart. She turned to Elias, who was working on the ship's thrusters. "We are different," she said softly, "but together we are strong." He looked up, eyes reflecting the starlight. "Yes, Lysera, we are stronger together, and the universe has a lot to teach us both." For the first time in her life, Lysera felt hope. Not the cautious hope of a Valari who obeyed orders, but a living, breathing hope that humans carried naturally. She realized that she had not only survived her exile, she had embraced it, learned from it, and grown beyond it. As New Athens slept beneath the twin moons, Lysera and Elias prepared for whatever came next. Valari ships might return, threats might rise, but they would face it together, human and alien, teacher and student, friends and companions. And in their combined courage and heart, the story of one rejected Valari and one ordinary human had only just begun. To be continued. The stars stretched endlessly around New Athens, bright and silent witnesses to the quiet hum of human life. Lysera stood on the observation deck of the cargo vessel, her silver eyes reflecting distant constellations. The peaceful night hid the storm coming from Valari space. The High Council had not forgotten her defiance. They would return, and this time, they would not come to negotiate. Elias joined her, carrying a datapad with information from the colony's sensors. "They've assembled a fleet," he said, his voice steady despite the concern in his eyes. "Valari ships armed and fast. They'll reach us in less than 3 standard hours." Lysera took a deep breath. Fear was still there, a flicker in her chest, but it was no longer paralyzing. She had learned from humans that courage did not mean the absence of fear. It meant action despite fear. "We need a plan," she said, "and not just to survive. If they come, we need to show them that we are stronger than they think." Elias nodded. He was a simple engineer, but humans had a unique strength, ingenuity. "We'll use their tactics against them," he said. "Hit their ships where they won't expect it. Use our knowledge of their speed and routines. And we'll need your help. Your knowledge of Valari technology could give us an edge." Lysera felt a surge of determination. For the first time, she realized that humans were not weak and that she was not powerless. Together, they could face even the High Council. The preparation began immediately. Lysera coordinated with the colony engineers, showing them how to strengthen ships' shields, reroute power to thrusters, and exploit weaknesses in Valari energy weapons. Humans adapted quickly, improvising solutions she had never imagined. Their creativity, unpredictability, and resilience filled her with admiration. During these hours of preparation, she also observed Elias in ways she had never before. He was calm under pressure, but never indifferent. He spoke with each colonist, ensuring they were ready, confident, and motivated. Humans followed not because they had to, but because they trusted him. And that trust, Lysera realized, was their true power. As the first Valari ships appeared on the horizon, Lysera and Elias took their positions on the command bridge. The fleet glimmered in the void, sleek, silver, and merciless, a mirror of Thalnora itself. Lysera's heart thumped, but she did not look away. "They underestimate us," she said, "and that will be their mistake." The first attack came swiftly. Valari energy beams cut through space toward New Athens' outer defenses. Human engineers worked frantically, adjusting shields and firing countermeasures. Lysera directed small fighter vessels, guiding them to hit critical points on the Valari ship's engines. Elias piloted a small but heavily modified craft, dodging beams with impossible agility. Lysera's guidance and the humans' adaptability caused confusion among the Valari fleet. They were precise but predictable. Humans driven by heart and intuition were chaotic, and chaos was difficult for Valari to counter. In the midst of the battle, Lysera realized something profound. Humans did not follow rules. They created solutions. They improvised. They cared for each other. Their strength was not just physical, but emotional, a force the Valari had long dismissed as irrelevant. Hours passed, and slowly, the Valari fleet faltered. Small strikes here, evasive maneuvers there, clever diversions. The humans turned the battle in their favor. Lysera directed a coordinated attack on the Valari command ship, exploiting a weakness she knew from years of studying her own people. The lead Valari, commander of the fleet, called out through universal translators. Lysera, this is futile. Surrender or your human allies will be destroyed. Lysera's voice was calm yet resolute. We will not surrender. Humans are stronger than you think, and I will not be forced to obey a council that rejects heart. The commander hesitated, clearly unprepared for defiance so pure, so unyielding. And in that hesitation, the humans struck with precision and unity. The Volari fleet was forced to retreat, leaving the colony intact. When the last ship vanished into the darkness, the human colonists erupted in cheers. Lysera looked at Elias, who was smiling despite exhaustion, and realized she had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans were not perfect. They were flawed, impulsive, and unpredictable. And yet it was precisely those qualities that made them victorious. Later, as calm returned to New Athens, Lysera and Elias walked among the colonists. Children waved at her, fascinated by her alien features. Engineers thanked her for guidance. And all around, humans worked together to repair the damage, their determination unwavering. Lysera turned to Elias. You have taught me more than I could have imagined, she said softly, about courage, about choice, about living. Elias smiled, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. And you've taught us that courage comes in many forms. We may be human, but you reminded us why we fight, why we care, why we endure. Lysera felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had been rejected, exiled, and humiliated. Yet here she stood, not as a Volari outcast, but as part of something greater, stronger, and alive. That night, beneath the glow of twin moons, Elias and Lysera sat on a hill overlooking the settlement. The stars stretched endlessly above them, silent witnesses to a world transformed. I asked you to bond with me, Lysera said quietly, her silver eyes reflecting the starlight. And you did not refuse, even when it was impossible. Elias took her hand in his. I never refused. I just needed to understand. Humans and Volari are different, yes, but differences don't divide us. They make us stronger. Together we create something neither could achieve alone. Lysera smiled. Then we will walk this path together. Human and Volari, teacher and student, friend and companion. Whatever the universe throws at us, we face it as one. Elias squeezed her hand. Yes, together. And together, they looked at the stars, not as a Volari alone, nor as a human alone, but as a partnership forged in courage, respect, and heart. In the weeks that followed, New Athens thrived. Lysera shared her knowledge, helping humans advance technology, medicine, and agriculture. Humans shared their culture, their stories, and their way of life. Slowly she realized she was home, truly home, not in a place but in a connection, a bond, a family chosen, not commanded. The Volari did not return, but their shadow remained. Lysera knew that one day the High Council might try again, but she was no longer the same being who had fled in fear. She had learned courage, compassion, and ingenuity from humans. She had seen the strength of heart. And she would not be alone when that day came. Elias and Lysera often stood together watching ships depart or arrive, teaching, learning, and laughing. In the vast, unpredictable universe, they had discovered a truth that transcended species. Strength was not in perfection, but in unity. In heart, in courage, in choosing to stand together when faced with impossible odds. Lysera looked at Elias one evening, the twin moons casting soft silver light over his face. I was rejected, she said softly, cast aside for my feelings. But in this human world I have found something my people never understood. What is that? Elias asked. Love, Lysera replied. Hope, courage, choice, and strength. Real strength comes from heart, not perfection. Elias smiled, wrapping an arm around her. Then we'll keep moving forward. Humans, Volari together, one step at a time. Lysera leaned against him, finally at peace. The stars stretched infinitely above, but for the first time, she felt that the universe was not something to fear. It was something to explore, to share, and to live in, with a companion she had chosen, and who had chosen her in return. The journey was far from over, and challenges would rise again. But Lysera and Elias had learned a powerful lesson. Together, human and Volari could face anything. And in that bond, they had found not only survival, but triumph. And so, under the endless sky, the outcast of Thalnora, now a woman of two worlds, walked into the future, hand in hand with humanity's heart, ready for whatever the stars held. The end.